Hello, and welcome to this pre-recorded event for the Higher and Foundation project. Feedback for the June 2015 series. To help you get the most out of this feedback, you may want to have the following documents handy, as we will refer to them during the session. You will need the assessment grid for both the Foundation project, Level 1 project, and the Higher project, Level 2 project. This is found within the specification for Level 1 and Level 2 projects. You will benefit from having a blank project proposal form to look at, to support comments made during the training regarding evidence for AO1. You will also need the learner work for 3 learners, identified as learners 1, 2, and 3. Slide 3 identifies the main aims and objectives for this training event. This slide shows an overview of both Level 1 and Level 2 projects. The key to a successful project for a learner is to ensure that the topic to be carried out is not too wide, and also that it allows the learner to find a range of relevant resources to inform the project title. At both levels, and for all forms of outcome, projects will need to have a taught element. For example, Level 1 and 2 learners will need to be taught how to reference their research sources, how to construct a bibliography, and how to complete their project proposal form and activity log. The project at both levels has 60 guided learning hours, so projects chosen should be able to sustain learners over this period of time. This slide gives a summary of what learners need to do to complete a successful project. If a learner is to carry out their project as part of a group, the assessor must make sure that each group member has their own individual evidence for each assessment objective. This can be achieved by supporting learners in setting their own individual project objectives under the main project title. The learner can then research and develop their own objectives as part of the whole realization of the project outcome. The project plan will be outlined by the learner in their project proposal form, and each time the learner carries out any activity to do with their project, they should make a record of this in their activity log. For Level 2 learners, the activity log should also comment on any problems encountered during the project and how these were overcome. Sharing the outcome of the project requires learners to carry out a critical and reflective review of their project process and outcome. At Levels 1 and 2, there is no mandatory requirement for learners to undertake an oral presentation about their project to an audience, although some centres do encourage their learners to do this. This slide sets out the basis for a Level 1 and Level 2 project. It is important to note that for both levels, learners have a choice of outcome. A project can be a written report, dissertation, that addresses a research question of the learner's choice. Or the outcome can be a performance that the learner carries out, or directs, or orchestrates, or a learner may choose to design an artifact. In all cases, the learner must show that they have researched the subject matter. Assessors are advised to read the assessment grid for the relevant level of project in order to clarify the information needed for successful projects for all outcomes. For AO1, all learners must submit their project proposal form and activity log. For AO2, all learners must provide a review of the research sources that they have found and a bibliography that would enable the sources to be retrieved. At Level 2, learners need to show awareness of the possible reliability of their sources. For AO3, learners need to show evidence that develops and realizes their project outcome, using the research they have found. For the dissertation, this will be a written report. For a performance, this may be in the form of a recorded event, although there must also be some text that fulfills the requirements for AO3, as given in the assessment grid. For the artifact, the outcome may be in the form of annotated photographs or an annotated sketchbook. Again, assessors are advised to look at the requirements as given in the assessment grid for artifact outcomes. In this case, learners are required to justify their final design from the perspective of materials chosen, color, texture, etc. These comments can be placed in the sketchbook, if this method of evidencing is employed. This slide discusses the evidence provided by Learner 1 for Assessment Objective 1. This evidence is based on that found in the learner's project proposal form and their activity log. Although this evidence is detailed, it could be further improved. 9 project objectives are given. The learner's ability to investigate these in depth may be improved if less objectives are set, as this is a 60 guided learning hour qualification only. Often 4 POs are sufficient, but obviously this varies according to the topic chosen to study. The learner's activity log is detailed and reflective. This slide refers to Learner Number 1's evidence for Assessment Objective 2. The learner carries out a review of their secondary data and comments on reliability of sources. The learner could further improve this work by making clear how the sources inform the discussion of the research question. The learner carries out collection and collation of relevant primary data, and this is analysed in some depth. This slide refers to the learner's development and realisation for Assessment Objective 3. This is an interesting project, as the learner combines their review of research found with their realisation of their research question. It is clear the learner shows very good understanding of their topic, and valid conclusions are drawn from both the secondary and primary data found. But the project would be improved if the learner had provided a separate discussion section, bringing all the information found in the research sources together, providing some alternative viewpoints and counter-arguments. This slide refers to the learner's review of their project for Assessment Objective 4. The learner has carried out a good review, citing what knowledge and skills have been learnt, incorporating feedback from others, giving ideas for improvements in the project process for next time, and providing ideas for new research. This slide summarises the reasons why this learner work performed well. It provides a summary against each of the 4 assessment objectives. This slide provides information regarding the differences that would be expected to be seen between work submitted for Level 1 and Level 2 projects. Delegates are reminded that the foundation level project is graded A*, A, or B, and these grades are directly related to GCSE grades at D, E, and F or G. The higher project, Level 2, is graded A star, A, B, or C, and these grades are directly related to the same GCSE grades. This slide continues to explain differences that would be seen between Level 1 and Level 2 project work. Level 1 work would generally be less detailed than that seen for Level 2 across all 4 assessment objectives. This slide focuses on evidence provided by learner number 2 for assessment objective 1. This work lacks detail. The proposed question is very wide and therefore difficult to address in 60 guided learning hours. The project objectives are a repeat of the research question and do not divide the question into manageable tasks. Rationale lacks in-depth reasoning. The activities given in Section 3 of the proposal form are generic, and there are only vague proposed timescales provided, so the learner cannot monitor their progress as required in their activity log. The activity log is brief. This work resembles a Level 1 project. This slide refers to the learner evidence provided for Assessment Objective 2. The learner gives no comments regarding any form of literature review. No comments are made regarding the possible reliability of sources. A brief bibliography is provided that cites 4 secondary sources. This slide comments on the lack of development of the outcome. This slide states that no review is provided. This slide provides a straightforward summary of why this evidence did not perform well. You now have an opportunity to look at some authentic learner work for the higher project and mark this evidence against the requirements of the marking grid. Please pause the presentation at this point. Using the assessment grid for the Level 2 higher project, read through the learner work numbered 3 and decide whether you would place the work into Mark Band 1 or Mark Band 2 for each of the 4 assessment objectives. If you wish to award exact marks, then please do so. It may help you if you jot down some reasons for awarding your marks or mark bands. This slide provides comments on the learner evidence provided for Assessment Objective 1. Generally, a holistic approach is taken to the awarding of marks for the Level 2 project. In this case, the evidence has some detail, particularly with respect to the activity log. There are areas that can be improved, but it would be accurate here to award marks at the bottom of Mark Band 2, or at the top of Mark Band 1. This slide gives justification for marks awarded for Assessment Objective 2. There is just sufficient evidence to award marks at the top of Mark Band 1. No comments are made regarding the reliability of sources, so marks cannot be awarded in Mark Band 2. Sufficient evidence is seen here to award marks in Mark Band 2. The learner review for Assessment Objective 4 covers the requirements, but comments made could be in greater depth. Therefore, this evidence can be awarded marks just into Mark Band 2, giving 4 marks. Learner work number 3 provides a research report as the outcome. This slide gives delegates a basic overview of the evidence required where a learner has chosen to carry out an artifact as their outcome for their higher project. Where an artifact is chosen, the learner must still provide a completed project proposal form and activity log. It would be usual for the project title to be in the form of a design brief that the learner will undertake. For Assessment Objective 2, the learner still needs to carry out secondary and, where appropriate, primary research that is relevant to the design brief. And these sources should be reviewed, and, for Level 2, comments made on reliability. For Assessment Objective 3, the learner should develop their artifact, ensuring that they provide information on choices of design made, and reasons why alternative designs were not chosen. Learners are required to review their project process and outcome for Assessment Objective 4. This slide provides delegates with information relevant to choosing a performance as the project outcome. As in the case of an artifact, the learner must provide a completed project proposal form and activity log for Assessment Objective 1, and carry out research into relevant secondary and, where appropriate, primary sources. A bibliography must be submitted. For the higher project, there should be comments on the reliability of sources. For Assessment Objective 3, the performance needs to be carried out. This needs to be evidenced in a format that can be viewed by the project moderator. The learner should provide reasoned evidence for decisions made that have impacted on the performance, such as any changes made as a result of rehearsals. A review is required for Assessment Objective 4. This slide gives some comments on issues that may affect learner performance in both Level 1 and Level 2 projects. The information provided here concerns the marking and standardization of marking in centres. All project work is marked by the centre. Centres are asked to justify their marks by providing comments on the assessor mark sheets that can be downloaded from the project website. It is recommended that centres carry out internal standardization to support accuracy of marking. Marks should be awarded for evidence that fits into the mark bands as given in the assessment grid. Where the +1 mark is awarded for independent learner work, this should be shown as the mark for the learner evidence +1. For example, if the learner's work is given 4 marks for AO1, and the mark for independent work is also awarded, this should be noted as 4+1. Moderation of centres marking will be carried out by Edexcel, Pearson. The centre will be asked to send a sample of marked learner work to a named moderator by the published date, usually about the 15th of May for summer results. The sample will be chosen by Edexcel and shown online. If the chosen sample does not include the highest and lowest marked project, these must also be included in the sample sent to the moderator. These slides provide information from Edexcel. Thank you for attending this training event. You will soon receive an email directing you to our online feedback form. The form takes no more than a couple of minutes to complete, and it is helpful for us to have your views on the event.